Hello, and thank you for joining me for this short tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to center a CSS menu that is populated by the CSS Menu Designer in CoffeeCup's HTML editor. Just a note to everyone watching that I do my centering a little bit differently than how CC does it. All web designers work and style differently. However, the centering I'm going to show you today does not work for IE7 or below without adding some bug fixes. So if you need to accommodate IE7 or below, which most people should have upgraded to at least IE8 by now, you will need to use another method or add the bug fixes in. I will not be covering the bug fixes for IE7 in this video. Now, with that said, let's get to work. I've already populated a menu using the CSS Menu Builder, which you can go to Insert CSS Menu Designer. If you do not know how to do this step, you can see my previous video to tell you how. So first things first, let's look at what the menu looks like. I've only created 5 menu items, and 2 of them have a drop down. So how do we center this into the page? Well, we'll get into that. First, we need to know where our CSS for our menu is stored. If we look up in the top right, or the top of the document, you should see a CSS style sheet. In this case, we're looking for a CSS folder with a file named menu.css. So we'll go into our CSS folder and we'll open our menu CSS. Here's where all of your menu CSS is stored. It's quite extensive and could be quite frightening for those that don't know how to edit CSS. But that's what this video is for. So we need to go to our HTML and we need to find what class is referenced. So if you look at your menu, you see that class menu is your UL class selector. So we'll go back into our CSS and find that, which it's right here. So what we need to do is we need to give our class a position. And we want it to be relative. And what that means is that it will stay within the flow of text, but it comes up off the page. Now to show you what I mean, here is a relatively positioned. And if we change that to absolute, what that does is it brings the content up under that menu, and that's not what we want. So we want to keep it at relative. Now we want to float this left, which means that it takes it from all the way to the left hand side of this container. And then we want to give it a left margin position of 50%. And what that does is it tells it that there's a 50% margin. Now what the heck, it just moved my entire menu all the way to the right. So how do we fix that? Well, we're not done yet. We have to change the LI. And the way we do that is we're going to float it left, and we're also going to give it a position of relative. And just like the menu, we're going to give it a margin, but we're going to do it right of 50%. So what that says is I want 50% on the menu to the left, 50% on the LI to the right. And bam, your menu is now centered. Now there's one problem with this. If you look, your sub item or your sub menu is not aligned with your regular menu. And that's an easy fix. We go up here to our UL and all we have to do is give it a margin left of 50px. Well, why 50px? How do we know that 50px is what we should use? Well, all you do is you take the width of your UL and your LI, and they should be the same, they should not be different, and you just take it and divide it by 2. So 100 divided by 2 is 50 if my math is correct. We hit F11 and your submenu is now aligned correctly. This is how I do my alignment. Like I said, CSS does it differently, but this is how I like to do it. What that allows to do is, say I come into this page and I have a font size of 22. It will not affect where my menu is positioned on the page. Now if I come in 18 and I do it the way CC says, it will distort. If I come in with an 18 font, that is, it will distort the position of my menu. And this makes it more accessible to people that have a harder time seeing, so those that are older and those that have vision difficulties. And that's why I like to do it this way. So I'll leave this up for a second just so you can see this is how it should be. And hopefully this has been helpful for you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them on the CC forum. I thank you for watching. Have a good day.